How's it going, guys? Liam here from AltSignals. Today is Tutorial Wednesday, so we'll be covering different aspects of the crypto world and giving you tutorials on how to navigate and use certain tools, services and products to make sure you're getting the best experience in this crypto world. As always, if you could give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. Okay, so today's session is on TradingView and getting started with TradingView for crypto. It basically is the same thing, but what I'm going to show you is how to change your chart around, set your chart how you want it, how you can search for particular coins, look at the exchanges, look at the time frames and what indicators are as well. So if you haven't already, you want to come to tradingview.com. There is a free service when you sign up, which is great, so you don't have to worry too much about paying for something when you're just starting out. So there are options available which are quite cheap, but again, for this case you can use the free version, which is no problem at all. So a lot of people want to know how to essentially kind of get on a chart and how to trade a chart. So there's a few ways you can do it. We're going to focus on one way just because it makes it simpler and it keeps you in one area at all times. So what you're going to do is come to the left hand side here where it says chart and click on that. And then what this is going to do, it's going to open up a chart like this. So you're going to have lines going across, you're going to have lines going up, so vertical and horizontal. And essentially what this is a chart of Bitcoin. Now it might not say Bitcoin, so what we'll jump into first is how to search for a token and how you can add it to your watch list and so on. So what you want to do is come up to this corner here where it says BTC perp and click in there, and here we have the symbol search. So essentially this will search for anything on any market. So right now we're only focusing on crypto, so for the sake of this I'm going to show you how you can do this. So let's say we want to search for Bitcoin, so we put BTC and then we have a number of options available. So this then makes it a bit difficult as to, right, okay, well what does all this mean? What are all these symbols here and all these names, and what's the difference between Bitcoin Group SE and BTC Health and BTC USD, USDT? Essentially all these are different forms of BTC. And what we want to be able to do is distinguish what chart we want to be looking at in terms of where we trade. So, for example, let's say you trade on Coinbase, right? So we could put in here USD, and you can see there we've got the Bitcoin USD chart. Now you might do this on Bybit. So again, we've got BTC USD. Now, perpetual contract is the futures contracts that are on the exchanges where you can essentially leverage the value of your amount in your wallet to essentially gain a larger portion of a trade. So for instance, let's say we as AltTrader and the AltSignals web, as AltSignals mainly focuses on Binance, what we can do is put in BTC USDT, and then you can see here we've got Binance at the top, and then we've got Tether US. Okay, so that's the USDT. Now, let's say you want to be trading on futures and you want to be on that chart, that specific chart. You can either do it like this, so BTC USDT, and then put in perp. And then you'll see here Binance perpetual futures. If you don't want to be typing in all that kind of stuff, you can essentially just put in BTC perp, and there it is straight away. So we click on that, and now we've got our chart. So what we can do as well is we can have a watch list. So you can see here all the different types of symbols that you want on your watch list. So let's say we decide to do, just in this case, IOTA, right? Now what you can do is you can come over here and click this, or you can add a symbol this way. So I don't know, maybe we wanted pancake swap. It's come here and then click on Cake USDT, and now that'll populate. So everyone that you are really focused on trading and obviously making sure that you've got the right ones, all your watch lists is here. So you click on this little button at the right hand side, it'll open up a watch list. It'll probably be empty, and you can just go in there and add in any tokens that you're wanting to trade on as well. So back to the BTC chart. So we've covered that. Covered the difference between the exchange and the futures contracts as well. So remember, if you're wanting to trade on the futures, make sure you put in perpetual in, and if you're not and you're just doing spot, then you can put in BTC USDT and find the exchange that you are currently trading on as well. So that is how to search for any type of token. You just find the ticker symbol and you can pop it in there and you'll have that as well. The next part, we'll jump into how we can essentially change the chart to fit your needs. So it's very straightforward. First of all, a lot of people always want to know how to put on dark mode. So you can come up to the left hand side here and click the three lines, and if you scroll down here, you've got this dark color theme and light color theme. You can change that. So now we're on the light color theme, change that back, and now we're fully dark. But at this case, let's say we don't want it to affect the chart. We just want it to affect the overall navigation throughout the website. So what you can do is come to the cogwheel here and click on appearance, and you've got a few options. You've got gradient and solid. So in this case, let's say I want it to be white. So we click on that. There we go. We've got it white. And these lines are the vertical grid lines. So if you want them on, you can do. I preferably don't have them on, so you can just come here and click white. And now we won't see them at all. You can change all these different features here. You can go to your symbol and look at the candlestick chart. So let's say we want it as blue, and the border is blue, and the wick as blue and red as well. So now if we click on OK, you can see how it's now changed, and that's how it will look. Maybe I don't want to have red, so I can come here and right click and click settings, come back to it, and we can change the red to, let's say, a dark grey, and click OK. Now we have that. That's straightforward. You can obviously change a lot of other features as well. You can look at your status line scales, how you want it to appear, show positions, show orders, all these different types of things as well, and you can create a template so it's always there. Now if you are paying for the TradingView, anything that you change on the chart will always stay the same. So if I go to a different, let's say I go to Ethereum, it still stays the same, which is great. So far we've covered how to open the chart, search for tokens, add to watch list, the difference between the exchanges and futures, how you can change the dark mode and change the appearance of your actual chart itself. Let's now look at the time frame. So currently, this is the weekly time frame. And what I mean by that is every single candle, every individual candle is a week's worth of trading. So this is currently this week. This is the previous week, so from the 31st of May to the 7th of June. So that is where we were at. So we closed at 2,719, and now we're sitting at 2,543. Now you can change this however you want. So let's say you are only looking at potentially buying and holding. You might only want to look at the weekly or the daily chart. So you can come up to here to the left hand side, and you've got WD for 115.5. That might be different. So you can click on this little drop down arrow, and it gives you the ranges from a second to 30 seconds to a minute to 45 minutes, an hour to 4 hours, and a day to a month. You can essentially click on here and pick whichever ones that you want and star them, and they will show up on your time frame here, like so. And once you've done that, you can essentially toggle through each different time frame, and as you can see, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This is because the overall pricing on the right hand side hasn't changed. So for instance, if we want to see a bit more depth to what's going on here, that's because this price range is all within one kind of area. So this is moving up in 200 each time. So what you can do is press and hold down on your mouse and drag the chart upwards, and as you can start to see how the prices start to stretch the overall chart out. And you can click on the screen by holding the left click on your mouse and drag it however you want. But again, so what we can do is essentially drag this up now, and we can see what we're looking at, and each candle now represents 5 minutes. So if now I go back to a day, you'll see how that's stretched because there's a lot of price movement in a day, a lot more than say within 5 minutes. So we have to scale it back down by dragging the mouse and closing it together, and then we get a better picture of what's going on. And this is over a day. Each candle represents a day. So that's how you can navigate through the time frames, and also how you can fit your chart within the right scalability depending on the time frame that you're using. So that's how you do your time frames. Now what we'll do is we'll only cover a few slight things here, because we will go further in depth, and if you're wanting us to cover any specific indicator, we can do a separate video on that as well. But we will be doing more in-depth videos regarding TradingView and how you can use it in many different ways to essentially help you with your trading, and how you can set up Alt Trader Indicator or even the Binance signals and kind of utilize those within the TradingView chart as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come over to the left hand side, and you'll probably see first things first is vol. Now this is a volume, and what this is showing is this chart down here, the red and green bars, and each one of these represents the volume of the day. So if it's red, it means that there's obviously been a lot of sell volume. If it's green, it means there's been a high buy volume as well. And this gives you an overview. So what you can do, there's a few things. So firstly, let's say you don't want to see this, but you don't want to delete it because you think it might be useful, but right now it's in the way. So you can come over here and click on the eye, and that'll just take it off there. And you can see now it's still there, but it's just off. You can turn it back on by clicking the eye. You might want to change it. So you can come into settings here, and you can see that it's on a 20-day moving average. You can also change the style. So let's say we don't want it as green, we want it as blue to match the candles, and we want that to represent that. And now you can see how it fits exactly the same thing there. If you don't want the volume chart, you just click on the X button and it's gone. Now, how do we get indicators? How do we use indicators? How do we search for indicators? What indicators do we use? We're only going to focus on how to access indicators, and also a few little tricks about how you can do with your mouse as well to do some measuring as well. So if you want to look at the indicators, you come up to the top here where it says FX, and it'll also say indicators. If you click on that, you're going to see here that you'll have a search bar, and then you probably won't see anything in favorites. So if we just kind of look at built-ins, so it'll look maybe something like this. And what you're able to do is search for an indicator, whether it's something that you've already seen on YouTube or an indicator that you're already familiar with using, or you know, you just want to kind of have an idea. So let's say we want a moving average in here, so we can click on that MA, and you'll see here we've got moving average, and then there's these like little stars next to each one, and that one's highlighted. But what you can do is favorite them, and what this will do is if you click on that and you come up to the little drop down arrow here, it'll bring up all the favorite ones that you have put through going through your indicators. So if we go back to this and we go into MA, now you'll see it's here on moving average. All you need to do is click on that, and now you have a moving average. So MA9, and you can see here there's a little blue line going through the whole thing. The same applies. You can make it invisible by unshowing it. You can click on the eye and bring it back. You can go on here on the settings tab, and you can change the color. You can change the inputs. So right now it's a length of 9. So let's say we want to do a 20-day moving average, and there we go. Now we can start to see how that has affected this line. Maybe you want to know how to add the Alt Trader Indicator. So what you want to do is come in here, and if you do search the Alt Trader, and you'll see here the Alt Trader Scalp and Swing, so you can click on that, and that will also come up here on the left hand side, and as you can see there's already a sell flag pop up here. It's very straightforward how to add it, and also like I said, if you can change the settings on this as well, which is we've got a separate video on this as well, and you can see here you can change pretty much everything within it. But yeah, and if you want to get rid of them, the same thing applies. Just come up, click on the X, and they're gone. There's a few other things. So let's say you want to measure how much there has been a drop from one candle to another. So let's say here we can see that it was at one point the price was at X, so let's say 4,100, and you hold the shift button down on your keyboard and just click on your mouse button, and this little blue square appears. It says 0.00, and then brackets. You've got the same thing with percentage and then loads of zeros. What you can do is, if you want to see how much it dropped, what the lowest percentage it dropped to, you can basically move your mouse down while still holding the shift key on your computer, and you can drag it down to, let's say, we're about here. And if you just click and let go shift, now we have a measure on what happened in this price here. So this dropped a total of 61.17%, and it was dropped from this candle to this candle, and you can see it also gives you the days. So over 7 days it dropped 61.1%. This is really useful if you're kind of wanting to figure out where you could see this heading going forward, or you just want to kind of have an idea as to, right, okay, so it dropped 61%. So if we come down to about here, or we come down to around about here, where we can kind of see it was close, what was that in terms of the price moving upwards? And now you can see the same thing. Hold shift, click on your mouse, drag up to a point where you want, and you can see over the space of 47 days it jumped 176%. Maybe you want to see if there was another drop, anything close to that. So maybe we look at this and we drag it down. We can see that was a 20 odd percent drop in itself there. And then once we kind of had this final drop here, you can see we moved up to around about 98%, and that was over 17 days. So it's a great little feature. Maybe you want to look at more sort of like a more visual side of things and a bit more control. So you can come over to the left hand side. On the left hand side, there are a number of tools that you can use within TradingView. There is a vast amount, as you can see. So that's one tab alone. And then you've got another tab here. You've got text. You've got within text, you can see the different variations. So you can pop in text, anchored text, notes, etc. And then same again here, different patterns to recognize different trading styles. And then you've also got these here. Now these are good for measuring. So essentially, let's say we want to look at long position, and all you do is click on long position. You can also favorite these. So if I click on favorite, you'll see a little toolbar come together. And within that toolbar is all the things that I've favorited, and you can move this wherever you want, so you don't have to scroll through or navigate through all these different menus to find what you want. You can just pick the main ones that you use on a day-to-day basis, and you can have that panel right here, and you can just come along and go, right, I want to click long position, and what did we gain here? So you can click on that and move this up to a point where you want as such. And again, we can look at the stop. You can also put where you had your stop loss. So let's say it was here, and you can move this around however you want. You can resize the target. So let's say, for instance, right now we saw this kind of potential thing the same way. So just a quick example, we saw it here and here, and now we've kind of got the same thing here. However, the only thing that's different is this higher high, but we've had a low, a high, higher low, nearly the same height, and then now we're looking potentially that there's a higher low coming. So maybe we want to look at a trade. So you can click on your long position here and set it there and go, okay, so if I put my short position down to about here, and you'll see now that if we just get rid of this line, you can see how it highlights 2089. So now you know that you want to put your stop loss at 2089, and let's say you want your target level to be about here. Then we can see, right, okay, so 2089 is my stop loss, 3378 is my target, and it's that simple. You don't want to use it anymore, you can just click on it with your mouse and then press the backspace and it deletes it. Let's say you don't want this and it's in the way and you don't like it, you can come back to where you favorited things and just toggle all of those off. And you can hide as well, so you can click on that and just right click and hide it, and now it's gone. If you want it back, you just click on this little star here on the left hand side and it brings it back up, or you can just click on it and it's gone. So that is a quick overview on how to use TradingView. We will do a separate one on, say, some of the indicators, as well as how to set up alerts and how you can create your own templates, but we didn't want to make this video too long, so this is just a quick overview on how you can use TradingView, how to get started, and hopefully that helps. If you have got any specific questions, you could reach out to us in the comments below. If you're still wanting us to make more videos like this, then leave a like on the video, and like I said, reach out to us through Telegram as well. We offer buying and signal services as well as trading indicator services as well. So as always guys, if you could leave us a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video.